My name is Mara Callahan and I'm 35 years old. Minutes after my divorce became official, I stood on the courthouse steps gripping the manila envelope containing the judge's freshly signed decree. Then I called my father. Fire all 27 employees my ex-in-laws planted in the company. My hands shook so badly I nearly dropped my phone before he answered. My father, Elias Callahan, had built Callahan Steel Fabrication from a rented warehouse in 1987 into one of the region's largest structural steel suppliers. On my 30th birthday, he gave me 25% ownership, telling me it was mine to protect. I married Julian Mercer 8 years ago. From our first family dinner, his mother, Vivian Mercer, made her intentions clear without ever saying them directly. Family should help family, she would say. Julian's cousins are incredibly talented. It would be a shame not to give them opportunities. Slowly, Mercer relatives began filling key positions in payroll, logistics, procurement, and internal auditing. My father trusted me, so he approved every recommendation I made. It took me 6 years to understand what was happening. First came missing invoices, then suspicious vendor contracts connected to companies registered under Vivian's maiden name. Procurement approvals bypassed normal procedures. Shipments were rerouted to a warehouse that didn't officially exist. When I questioned Julian, he laughed. "You're imagining things," he said. "Not everyone is plotting against you." So I hired a forensic accountant secretly. For 11 months, she followed the money. The result was devastating. 27 employees were connected by blood or marriage to Vivian Mercer. Together, they had siphoned nearly $4 million through inflated invoices, phantom consulting fees, and a shell logistics company billing us for an empty lot. I didn't confront Julian. I filed for divorce, and I waited until the decree was final. The moment I was legally free, I finally stopped protecting the people who had been robbing my family's company. Still standing outside the courthouse in my grey blazer, I told my father everything. The shell company, the phantom invoices, the fake warehouse, the $4 million that had disappeared over 6 years. "Send me the report," Elias said. 20 minutes later, our head of HR had the list of all 27 names. Within 2 hours, the terminations began. That evening, while I was unpacking boxes in the small rental house I had moved into during the separation, someone began pounding on my front door. It was Vivian Mercer. She had never raised her voice at me during 8 years of carefully performed family dinners. But now she was furious. "Reverse those terminations immediately," she shouted. "You have no right to destroy those people's lives." I stood in the doorway, strangely calm. "You need to leave my property," she laughed bitterly. "You have no idea what you've done. Those employees have families. Julian's family helped build your father's company." "No," I replied. "They helped steal from it." Her expression changed. I continued. "The forensic report is with my lawyer. Every inflated invoice, every fake consulting fee, every payment to the shell company, it's all documented." For the first time, Vivian looked afraid. Then just as quickly, she changed tactics. Her voice softened. "Julian still loves you. This can all be fixed. Reconsider the divorce. Reinstate everyone. Let the past stay in the past." I almost admired her nerve. "The divorce is final," I said. "The terminations are final. If anyone wants to challenge them, they can do it in court. Then the forensic report becomes public." Her face hardened. "You'll regret this. I have connections." I simply closed the door. The next few weeks were difficult. Removing 27 people from critical departments meant rebuilding the company almost from scratch. My father hired Gideon Shaw, a sharp operations manager, to oversee procurement and logistics while we recruited legitimate replacements. Within a month, shipment delays disappeared. Vendor costs dropped nearly 18%. For the first time in years, Callahan Steel Fabrication was finally operating honestly. My father called every evening that first month. Sometimes he only read me updated numbers. But each time his voice sounded lighter, as if a burden he had carried for years was finally gone. 3 weeks after Vivian's confrontation, Julian called me. His voice was quiet. He didn't defend his mother. He didn't defend the 27 employees. He simply asked how I was doing. For a moment, I heard the man I had once married beneath the person his family had shaped. "I'm doing better than I have in years," I told him. And I meant it. He never called again. Vivian's promised lawsuit never came. Once her attorney reviewed the forensic report during discovery, he apparently explained that litigation could expose the entire fraud and possibly lead to criminal referrals. The threat stopped. Several months later, 2 of the key employees involved in the scheme left the state. The Shell Logistics company was dissolved before the year ended. My father could have pressed criminal charges. Instead, he told me, they already lost everything they built on stolen ground. Part of me wanted more. But I understood his decision. 6 months later, Callahan Steel Fabrication posted the strongest quarterly earnings in its history. The company was now staffed by people who had earned their positions through ability, not family connections. That spring, my father formally named me president. He made the announcement on the same warehouse floor where he had started the company nearly 40 years earlier. This company belongs to the people who built it, he told the employees. And today, it is in the hands of someone who fought to protect it. I stood beside him wearing the same grey blazer I had worn on the courthouse steps. The day my divorce became final, I thought I was simply ending a marriage. I was wrong. I was ending 8 years of manipulation, silence, and betrayal. And when I finally stopped protecting the people who had taken advantage of my family, I discovered something I had almost forgotten. My life and my father's company belonged to me again.